Welcome to everybody. We're glad to see all of you joining us today. I'm Stephanie Ivy. For those of you I have not met, I direct the West Tennessee STEM Hub. And we have a great session today to talk about all of the robotics competitions that are coming up that you have the opportunity to be involved in. So I'm going to turn everything over to Dan Cohn, and he is the Director of Robotics Education for the Hub. He is also an associate professor in our College of Engineering in the Department of Engineering Technology. So Dan, we are just going to turn everything over to you and let you run the show.
All righty, thank you very much. I'm hoping I shared my screen correctly and you're seeing my PowerPoint.
Yes, looks great.
As Stephanie said, I'm Daniel Cohn. I'll be the moderator today for this conversation. I've been involved in STEM robotics for over 2 decades now. On various functions, everything from coaches all the way to program delivery partners for First Lego League. If you're involved in the STEM Hub, you probably already know why you want kids involved in STEM. And STEM robotics is just an extension on that. Obviously, to prepare the future workforce, in robotics and computers and AI, they need to be involved in it from a very young age. So a lot of the robotics programs now are reaching down even into kindergarten, and a few programs even pre-K now. But robotics does more than just teach the technology. My personal feeling is one of the most important things is the resiliency of students. That because they're doing the engineering cycle during these types of competitions, they are learning to analyze failure and then come up with a solution to why it failed, and then try something new to improve. And I think that's really important for students today, along with future employment opportunities and hands-on learning that a lot of us are engaged in. I'm going to first start off with talking about FIRST Robotics. It's one of the major programs in STEM robotics in the world. They offer everything from kindergarten all the way through high school programs. So this is just a general map. First Lego League, they've lumped 3 programs into one hat. Discover is for the kindergarten first, Explore first through 4th grades, Challenge, which is the one I'm involved with, is 4th through 8th, and then they have Tech Challenge and First Robotics competition for high school students. The Discover is for the youngest kids. This is using the Duplo Lego kits. And this is mostly done in classrooms and community organizations. And it just gives them a little taste of STEM along with hands-on learning to get them interested in continuing on. Again, my personal feeling is the younger we can start them, the better. And both FIRST and VEX have recognized that starting them off earlier is much better. So this program is designed for the youngest kids to get them thinking a little bit about STEM and STEM careers and so on. Pretty much is sold to schools as a class pack sort of arrangement, so you can buy a bunch of kits for your entire school or your classroom. But this one is done within that environment. There's no competition to go to, no expos. It's just to get the kids engaged. And they're just using these kits, and the registration includes that along with the STEAM Park to add more pieces and a little more fun and a little more creativity. The First Lego League Explore is for slightly older kids. This one's using the We Do 2 and now going into the new Spike Oh, it's on the next slide. I can't even remember the new one right now. But this one goes more along the theme. Every year first has a theme. This year it's having to do with transportation, which and supply chain, which is rather apropos for what's going on in the world right now. So they're asked to sort of solve an issue having to do with the supply chain and transportation issues. And then they have a expo that they show their creations and their ideas to a sort of a reviewer. It's not really a competition. It's more a friendly presentation to get the kids used to sharing their ideas with adults, most of them engineers. Currently in Memphis, the CMOM, the Children's Museum, is the partner for this, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly who's going to be running the program this year. They've had a terrific turnover, so I haven't heard an update for this year's season from them yet. Currently, they're using the We Do 2, but if you've heard, the We Do 2 is about to go extinct, and they're introducing the Spike Essential Kit. This is now the one on sale from Lego. Again, due to supply chain, I'm not sure how easy they are to get these kits right now, or any of the robotics kits we'll be talking about due to the chip shortage. But this is going to be an upgraded kit for this age group, gives them more functionality and more motors and sensors to play with. The registration includes the quote unquote project for that year, along with teaching materials and workbooks for the kids as well. The Lego League Challenge is the one for slightly older kids. This is the one I'm involved with as the program delivery partner for West Tennessee. Again, they go along the same theme. So this year it's Cargo Connect. And this is not only a robot competition, but they also have to identify a problem within the theme and then propose a solution to a panel of judges. And then along with that, they also participate in a robotics competition, and also they learn something about the core values of FIRST, how to work together on solving engineering problems. This one, you can either do a class pack or a or individual teams. The class pack is meant to run a competition within your school, but not move on to further competitions. So what a lot of schools do is they'll buy the class pack, have competitions within the school, and then just pay for one team to move forward to represent their school. So that is a way to do it. Currently, we have 26 teams registered. This year, due to COVID and the uncertainty of events and so on, we did decide to go to a virtual event again this year. So it will be virtual. We're shooting for late March, early April for this year. And we're just about ready to start reaching out to coaches now. We've been really slow due to issues with things going on at the university, and my main team has been extremely busy because of COVID as well. So it's been difficult in our planning for this year. With the registration, they get a full field setup kit, which is the entire field for the year, along with team notebooks and teacher guides. And currently it's using the Spike is the kit that they're using now. EV3s, the old Lego robots, are going into retirement now. I think this is the last year they're actually for sale, if you can still get them at all. So the Spike is replacing those. But First Lego League usually allows older robots to compete. They're still allowing the old RCX robots to compete, although I don't know how you can be competitive with such old technology. First Tech Challenge is what I consider the junior varsity for First Robotics. It is a small, basically 1 foot cubed robot, and they compete 2 robots on a team and two alliances on the field at the same time. Tennessee does have a competition now. It started 2 years ago, right before COVID. And the competition's in Nashville. They are hoping to start getting qualifiers in both East and West Tennessee in the future, but COVID has sort of delayed those plans currently. But I have the contact information for the person in charge of that program, and I'm sure Stephanie will make these PowerPoint slides available to everybody after the meeting. The last one is First Robotics Competition. This is high school, and this is the varsity for all robotics, really. This is the FedEx Forum size competition with 6 robots on the field at a time, and the robots weigh, over 100 pounds. And are using industrial equipment and pneumatics and all sorts of things to run. If you ever get to go to one of these, it is the outstanding STEM event. They've made it into a arena sporting event, and they've done a wonderful job. But I will warn you, if you are looking into this program, it is extremely expensive. Teams, the registration fee alone is $5,000, and that doesn't include travel, other parts, and so on. So competitive teams sometimes spend as much as $25,000 a year to compete in this program. You can have any number of students on the team, and there's a lot to do, marketing and so on. But one of my pet peeves on it is that it is extremely hard for teachers to raise that kind of funding for a STEM robotics event. But luckily in Memphis, we have one team that is an open team running out of the Brooks Library, the main branch. And anybody can join that team. So, and that's funded through the city and a whole bunch of other donors. So if they're bored with FTC or some of the VEX programs and want to go into something even larger, please point them to the library for that competition. We're hoping to have a regional in the area in Collierville. It was supposed to happen last year. COVID put it off, and it's putting it off again this year. But I'm hoping that it will still take place. And I know FedEx is extremely interested in supporting that event in Collierville. Just to give you a size of the robot, here's one being demoed. It's actually a frisbee thrower, so you can imagine the size and the amount of engineering. And most teams have a very large both student number as well as a series of engineering mentors. And for this competition, you can see the mechanical, electrical, and computer control issues that arise on something this big. You need that kind of support. I've got some contact information here. The First Inspires website is the main website for the organization, and we have a Memphis First Teams website here. We do have a FIRST senior mentor who is an employee of FIRST in the area to help with training, answering questions, etc. And as I said, I'm the program delivery partner for this program as well. Before we move on to VEX, I did want to mention Best Robotics, which is another program that is active in Tennessee. The current competition is in Nashville, and that's the contact information. They do approximately the same size robots as FTC, so 1 foot cube basically. They work a little differently, that you register a team and you're actually given the control system and other parts from the hub. Then you compete and return the parts. So it's a lower cost option, but you don't get to keep your robot. They also use a lot more plywood and locally sourced material that's easier to work with. So I find this one, it's a little less programming than some of the other programs, but mechanical engineering is definitely enhanced by having to even make your own wheels and things like that. So that's one of the other benefits of this program. I have made as my next slide, but I think we'll go with VEX first with Shelley. So if Shelley wants to step in and do her presentation, I will put the links into the chat while she's talking.
Okay, can everybody see my screen okay? Okay, fantastic. All right. Hi, everybody. I am Shelley Brasher. I am a Shelby County resident. And so right here in your backyard and willing to help every step of the way. I am a retired teacher from Collierville High School. I've worked with the West Tennessee STEM Hub and Stephanie and Dr. Cohn before it was the West Tennessee STEM Hub with a lot of their programs, and am just really excited about my retirement gig and what I've been able to do with VEX Robotics. So what you're seeing on the screen is what has been developed over the last 2 years. So if you have been out of the loop, as many have, then just pretend like you have never seen this before, because there have been so many changes over the last 2 years. I work for the REC Foundation. I do not work for VEX Robotics. The REC Foundation has a number of STEM programs that we support and work with, including TSA and Skills USA and Best Robotics and Bell Helicopter, and the list just goes on and on. We are specializing in different areas. So at the moment, I am working strictly with elementary programs because we know how important it is for STEM to start early. I actually started with coaching robotics teams at the high school level, and then ran some camps that brought in our middle school age kids, and then invited some elementary age kids, and really created a lot of the teams, or inspired rather a lot of the teams that were very active in this area. We have a lot of teams out of Shelby County that do very well. They are state champions. They are world champion winners. We really have a strong community here, but COVID has definitely put a dent in that. The silver lining with COVID, though, has been that we've been able to really develop these programs, and even the existing programs, to add to them, so that regardless of what your situation is, we have options for you. So over the last 2 years, we have had in-person tournaments. I'm going to an in-person tournament that starts tomorrow in Brentwood. Our state championship last year was in person. Our world championship last year was remote. And so we have created a remote tournament system where teams can compete from their classroom or their kitchen or their driveway. Like, we saw it all. Wherever they could set up a game field, we had kids playing and they play each other. So it's like right now, if Dan and I were having a competition, and it's like, all right, I'm hitting the ball, now you get it back to me. It's very similar to that. And it is so fun. And I encourage you to look on the VEX YouTube channel for some of those videos from last year's World Championship. So this year, we're still offering those live remote options throughout the season for teams all over the world who need that. But we also are having in-person events happening, and that will continue. We'll get back to where we were normal. Right now, it's a lot less than what we had normally, but we're going to get back there. So anyway, to the programs. So I started with high school, with coaching high school, as I said, and then we dipped down and dipped down and dipped down, and realizing that if you want girls in your high school robotics program, then you can't wait until high school to introduce it to the girls. You have to introduce it to them back before these stereotypes happen. And the same way with just STEM and computer science in general. This has to happen before the kids decide, which in my opinion is about second or third grade, before they decide, oh, well, I'm not good at math, or I'm not good at science, or I'm not good at building things. All of these notions that they get, we've got to present this before they get to that. So VEX 123 is actually, I did a training last week for Head Start teachers. So they're going to be using 123, and this was in Louisiana, a group in Louisiana. They're going to be using 123 for their 3-year-olds. And I'll talk about each one of these specifically in a moment, but just to give you an overview. Next, we have created VEX Go. Well, VEX IQ has been around a while. And so what was happening is that elementary teachers were introducing or using the VEX IQ because they didn't have any other options that were below that. But they found that they were having to help the children a lot. Well, we pride ourselves on student-built robots, student everything, student-led everything. And so by creating VEX Go, now we have a product where the kids can build it, take it apart. Like they don't have to deal with wires and updating firmware and all of that kind of stuff. Everything like that happens automatically. And so it takes away that part where the teacher was having to be more involved, and really makes it where a teacher can be the facilitator, present the activity, and the students are off to the races. VEX IQ is our competition level. And this is where we have tournaments on Saturdays that advance to the state championship. A lot like basketball, we have local tournaments, and anybody can host one. And when you host a tournament at your school, the money you make is yours. So that's part of our sustainability model, is that you host the tournaments, you make the money. We help you with all of the resources to do that, and the STEM ambassadors, and we've got a great group of volunteers in addition to the STEM ambassadors in this area too that will assist as well. Then we move on to VEX V5. This is our metal erector set robot, and this is where the competitions get more like BattleBots, where it's head-to-head competition, 2 versus 2, on a 12 by 12 field. So it can take place in a high school gym or in a cafeteria. Again, you make that money if you host that event. And then another new program that we have now is called the V5 Work Cell. And this is a stationary robot arm industrial for high school and community college is the targets. And this is using it's very similar to the FANUC robotics training centers, but scaled down so that it would fit into a classroom. And so the initial cost of setting up a classroom is going to be between $10,000 and $15,000 for all of the equipment. And then that includes registration fees. It's not a mobile tournament, it's a video submitted tournament. So lots and lots of exciting things happening. So let's just look. But first, I'm going to give you something for free. So this will make your afternoon worth being here. So in March of 2020, when the world stopped, VEX Education created a tool for teachers to finish out the school year with their robotics kids. And so they created VEX Code VR. And this can be found at vr.vex.com. I'll go straight to that site. vr.vex.com, and it is free. And we've had over 1 million projects submitted. And it is a software tool that uses a virtual robot to play lots of games. So you can download lots of different playing fields. And then here in the activities, you've got activities for the students that relate to each of these games. You've got hour of code activities. And then you've got a full computer science teacher resources under Learn. And it has both block projects and text projects. So regardless of the age group that you're working with, it is very intuitive, has just lots and lots of fun. Has different ways, like a video game where they can look at what their robot is doing. They can look at different views, etc. And now what they have created is for the IQ and the VRC V5 games, they now have a virtual skills for those games that is included with registering a team. So when you register a team, not only will you be able to participate in the tournaments for this year's games, but you will also have access to a platform such as this so that the students can strategize the game, they can do their programming, all of that. And that's for the IQ game and for the VRC game this year. So again, vr.vex.com. All right. So now looking at the programs. So VEX 123, I need to change this slide because it's actually been updated to, let me close something here. It's saying that my resources are low. When I open VR on Zoom, it doesn't like it. I don't want to get glitchy on you. Okay, so now this has changed. So it was pre-K to second grade was the idea, but now teachers are grabbing hold of this that are teaching computer science, and they are using this system to teach all the way up through the high school level. They maybe don't want to deal with a robot, but they want to have something that moves when it's programmed. And this, to be what it is pretty powerful. So VEX 123 means coding in 3 ways. And I've got one here if you can see my camera or on the slide. So it starts with the puck, and the puck is coding by touching. So you've got the symbols on the top, and the children start off by doing a series just by touching and giving it a set of instructions. Then they progress to using Scratch block coding with this mobile coder. So they don't have to have a tablet or a laptop. This connects Bluetooth to this, and they've got these coder cards that are magnetic and magic, the magic cards, and they can put these in their Scratch blocks. They can put these in the order, and then they can turn this on, and their robot is going to do these steps, and this will light up as each step is happening so that they can see what's happening. And then coding the third way is with the app VEX Code 123, which looks just like that coding software that I just opened up with VR. But you can see that with the mobile coder, they're limited to 10 lines of code. With the app, then they're able to do multiple lines of code, way more than 10, and they're able to add loops. This has a color sensor and a distance sensor and a gyro included in this device. So they can do programming with all of those things too with this little device. So it is really powerful. This is $99. And then there is a game field that comes with it that's small, that is 2x2, and it is $25. So very affordable. We do have a classroom challenge, which is kind of like accelerated reader, where the students earn points and they can earn badges based on doing different activities. And they get digital badges and digital awards, and it's free. It's all free, offered by the RAC Foundation. The next program is Go. And so Go is actually where we start to build things. So the focus in Go is building a robot, being able to do this in the classroom. That's one of the things that IQ has had problems with is that they're hard to put together. They're hard to take apart on purpose because they're competition robots. So they made Vex Go so that it is a more pliable material. So it's really easy to put them together, really easy to take them apart for little kids. They have really simplified build instructions. And in this, they have many activities that are focusing just on building, and that spatial visualization, learning about gear ratios, learning about mechanisms. Like you could do all of that and never program a day, and you would have plenty of activities and fun things for the kids to do. Then it comes with a switch. So you can add a battery with your motors and an on-off switch, and you can add power. And then you can add a brain, and you can add programming using the Vex Code Go as well. This is becoming popular beyond the lower elementary. I've got a 7th grade teacher who is using this with all of her STEM classes in Northeast Tennessee and absolutely loves it. All of the lessons are designed to be 45 minutes. You build it, you do something, you take it apart. 45 minutes. And so they're your STEM lessons, just super easy to implement. It comes with sensors. It comes with the electromagnet sensor. You can do the robot arm activities here that are just like what the Factory Automated Challenge activities are in the high school community college level. And we're presenting this in 2nd and 3rd grade. Again, free registration for teams. We have the classroom challenge where they can earn digital badges, but we also are adding a competition that can be done class to class. It can be done school to school. Been talking to Dan about doing one at the University of Memphis and inviting anybody to come, and you can bring your Vex robots or your Lego robots. We don't care. We're just going to play. So a lot of fun things happening with Vex Go. And then, of course, Vex IQ is our traditional elementary, middle school competition robot plastic snap together. You can see it a little bit up here, but this is where we really start to introduce the tournament structure, and that, winners go to state, and that, it really elevates the students to that level. Our high school program, V5, both of these, IQ and V5, registration is $150 for the first team and $100 for each additional team at an organization. And then you will get the virtual skills platform to be able to play. If any of you have been around robotics for a while, way back when we used to have robot virtual worlds where we could play the Lego games, we could play the Vex games with the virtual robot, and that's what our virtual skills is like. And that's being given out this year with the registration fees. Factory Automated Challenge, these are the skills for high school and community college classes, brand new program, fully funded in the state of Nevada by Tesla. As you can imagine, that they have a vested interest in this type of learning in their state. And then for the top programmers in high school, community college, and college level, we now have Vex AI. And this is where we use the V5 robots, but they are playing the game 2 versus 2, no humans. It is 100% programmed. The robots are fitted with GPS locators and cameras and sensors that allow this type of interaction, where the 2 robots are interacting with each other, and they are also reacting to what the opponent's robots are doing. The game field is the same as the VRC game field, but we put this barcode around the outside perimeter, and that barcode is what the robots are using to determine their locations, and then they use the color sensor and other sensors to identify game elements and other things in the field. Super exciting. And then finally, not Vex, but REC is our drones program. So we have RAD-C, and this is the REC aerial drone competition. And it's a 90-second competition that is programming, not much building on this. The teams do some repairs. They can do some 3D printing of propellers and things like that as they need to. But the focus is on strategizing, teamwork, all of those STEM soft skills. And then after going through the courses and playing the games, then the students can get their FAA certification to operate a drone. Super exciting. This is how you can contact us. Leslie Cruz was supposed to be on the call today. Over the last 5 years, I have had the distinct pleasure to serve anybody and everybody in the state of Tennessee with an interest with STEM education. And now we've done some reorganization with our new programs. My focus is on elementary programs. So I'm working with 1, 2, 3, Go, and then IQ, and then I'll pass it off to Leslie, and she will take it from there and work with anybody who is interested in any of the other programs, IQ, V5, Bex AI, etc. But she's one of my best friends in the world, and we work together. You can reach us with our names, or you can reach me at bexgo@roboticseducation.org. I did have a couple of things to pull up just to show you. This is this year's game for IQ, and it's called Pitching In. Super easy to navigate. You'd go to vexrobotics.com and then click on whatever program that you want to look at here at the top, and you'll see all of the educational resources. Full curriculum is included at no cost, and then the overview of the competition. So Pitching In is a couple of different levels for using a catapult type design, incentives for making it small. So we've got in one place, the robot plays a catapult pitching, but then it has to limbo under this pole right here. So it has to be able to go small as well. So a lot of design challenges involved in that one. The middle school, high school V5 competition. Now, pictures don't do this justice because it's huge. This one actually has these seesaws on either side. And so at the end of the match, he with the most toys wins. If the team, the red team or the blue team, can take these mobile goals, load them up with these purple hoops, and stack them on the seesaw and balance the seesaw along with their robots, then you're probably going to win if you can do all that in 2 minutes. So super exciting there with Tipping Point. I actually had the opportunity 2 years ago to serve on the game design committee. And so these 2 games were the first games. These are my games. These are the first games that I was involved in creating. So can't wait to see them in action this weekend at our first big tournament in the state. So speaking of the first big tournament in the state, this weekend at Brentwood Academy, if you can run away and head to Nashville, like what better place to be than Halloween in Nashville, right? On Brentwood Academy is hosting Haunted. Their entire campus is going to be a huge haunted house with haunted trails and all kinds of fun. They are having a signature event, which is 62 teams from 10 states will be competing with Tipping Point, and the winners go to Worlds. They get a Worlds bid. So, they don't have to go to state to qualify. They get a bid straight to the World Championship. So we're going to see some of the top teams in the country at this event. Also on Tuesday, how about tomorrow? Tomorrow, Friday afternoon from 3 to 6 at Brentwood Academy, I'm going to be hosting an in-person teacher training, free, 3 hours, intro to robotics. I'm going to be using the Vex Go kits. On Saturday, we have invited 3,000 elementary students to come and tour and see the robots in action. But I'm going to have a whole hallway where I'm going to have 7 learning stations using Vex 1, 2, 3, 8 learning stations using Vex Go, and we are also going to have the VEX Go competitions. So let me show you this real quick is the drone, what that looks like, the RAD-C, where they're flying the drones. I had that pulled up to show you. But I also want to show you the Go competition. So Go is our elementary, that's a competition, not a competition, because it doesn't go to state championship. It's just for fun. But what it is 4 games. And when you buy the game kit, you can build any of the 4 games. And the first game, the one that we're going to be showing, is called the Mars Math Expedition. I can get it bigger here so you can see it. And it is played on a 3x6 field. That's a little better. And so the children will use their Go robot or their BB3 robot, whatever that they want to bring to play. And they will do these activities that are related to what the Mars rover is doing. We have a full curriculum that is theme-based, that is co-curricular. So it's going to bring in ELA, science standards, math standards, all of it. The different tasks that they'll do is to take these game objects and take these samples to the lab. They will take this little rover or this little rover that's stuck in the sand, get him out of the sand. This is a fueling station, so they're going to have to get these fueling tanks off of these devices, bring them over here to the launch pad, and then raise the rocket. And then there's an area here where they're going to clear a landing area for the drone. So lots of fun tasks. Oh, and a solar panel that is in the wrong position, and they have to bring it up right into the correct position. So a lot of tasks, again, a lot of educational opportunities there in that theme, and that is one of the 4 Go games that we're excited about. The other 3 games can be built with the same field. One is Village. It's like a habitat, Engineers Without Borders, creating a village, putting in a water supply, putting in power, raising crops, coming up with ways to process food. The third one is Oceans Exploration, and underwater exploration with oysters and kelp forest and all kinds of an underground volcano. And then the last one is a city rebuild, which has a fire station, hospital, and delivering supplies after a storm, uprighting trees, that type of thing. But a lot of fun, a lot of things going on with the VEX Continuum. And that is it.
Thank you. Our last speaker for today is going to be talking about mate robotics. So Sharon, if you'll take it away.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. And we will get started. So this is fairly new to the Memphis area, or actually the Mid-South. So this is the MATE ROV competition. It is run by the West Tennessee STEM Hub. So I was the regional coordinator for the very first one, which we held back in May. And I had a team of amazing students who helped me to get it all going. And so it was such a success that we want to do it again. And teachers have been asking, so here we are. So for our 2022 regional team, I will be leading it, and then everyone that's in bold was on my team for the previous competition, and then we have added some new ambassadors to our team, so it's going to be bigger and better, and we're super excited. On the right, those are just some pictures from our very first competition. It was held at the YMCA downtown. So a little bit about the MATE ROV competition. It is underwater robotics, and so if you're familiar with sea perch, it is very similar, but it is remotely operated vehicles, and we do try it's to challenge K through 12 students and college students to apply scientific, engineering, and technical skills. And so the competition requires students to think of themselves as entrepreneurs, and that was a big part of the competition this year as well. It's not just about building a robot, it's about building a team and representing the product that you've made. And so the competition began in 2001, and it actually has 41 regional events now. The little red star, it got moved, but it was over Memphis. We were made this past year, and so now we are hoping to stay as a regional competition. So we hope to do this every year from now on. And so a little bit about the ROV systems. They're pretty complex, but we break it down in the competition, so it makes it very easy because you build one piece at a time, and so it's nothing overwhelming, but what you end up with in the end is just pretty incredible, and what the students have done is just really cool. So a typical ROV, you're going to have a frame. Most of these end up being like PVC pipe, or really anything. The kids can get so creative, and with the whole business aspect of the competition, they get to think about cost, and they get to think about why some materials should be used instead of others. There's a power system, a control system. They've got their tether, propulsion. They learn about buoyancy because they are in water, so they need it to be able to float. And depending on how heavy their ROV is, they might need to add something to help it float. And then they also have mission tools, and the missions will change each year, but they are all made out of PVC pipes. And then they're just sitting at the bottom of a pool or usually a pool, and they use it to move all the different tasks around. And so this is kind of what it ends up representing. So a professional ROV, you're going to have these really expensive parts, and it's going to be incredibly engineered. And so the students kind of get to dive into that. And so the pictures on the right kind of represent what a real life ROV is and what's actually used out in the real world. And so they really get to make that and become, they get to make it unique kind of to how they think as well. So each team always ends up with something different. So there are 4 different competition classes. For our very first year, we just did Scout as the most basic level. It's great for anyone who's absolutely new to robotics, has never done anything with underwater robotics too. And so we had elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools compete back in May. But we give everything to you with the MATE ROV. You get the instructions, tutorials, lesson plans to go along with to teach you not just basic information, but also the concepts behind each component. And so what you do is you end up purchasing an ROV kit, and it comes with all the pieces you need, and you work together with the students' teams, and they build it. So the next class is the Navigator. It's kind of the next step up. And then we've also got the Explorer and Ranger. And so what we plan to do this year is, this is our second year. So all of the schools who have participated, if they do want to come back, I'm hoping that they want to do something a little more advanced. But I would love to have a lot more schools participate this year. And hopefully we can have either multiple classes or get everyone into maybe an Explorer class, or even the Navigator would be great too. And so Explorer and Ranger, it gets really intense. So the higher the level, like the more knowledge, the more technical skills that are involved. And Rangers, go to world championships and compete against other like really amazing students. And so a lot of these classes, like, you can go to different regionals and compete in them, and it's also worldwide. So when you're getting into the Explorer and Ranger, you could be competing against a team from China or even Brazil. And so it's really exciting, and it connects students to everyone. So this is an impact study from 2019. I was looking for a more recent one, but I didn't have enough time. So, but this just kind of talks about why it's good for students and why you would want to get your students involved with MATE ROV. So students are more interested in math and science. A study was done that MATE was able to transform them, and they became more interested in those subjects by participating in MATE. And as you go through the MATE ROV competition, you gain these skills, and so you have more knowledge, and the students are better able to understand engineering, technology, science, math, like all the STEM concepts a little better. And teachers saw improvements in student learning, so that's always great. Bring it to your classroom. And other than that, I want to talk about our first competition, because it was a really big task for the West Tennessee STEM Hub, and the competition went amazing. And so we had an elementary school, 2 middle, and 3 high schools, and we all did a scout level. And so the MATE ROV competition last year covered 3 challenges. These are the 3 different challenges. They had the problem of plastic pollution, climate change on coral reefs, and then healthy waterways of the Delaware River. And so a big part of the MATE ROV competition is making sure challenges relate to real world issues and problems. And so this is kind of how they did it. And all of their mission tasks, which are represented with like PVC pipes and built into these structures that are sitting at the bottom of the pool, the students build this ROV, and they put it in the pool, and they're going through these challenges and replicating what they would do, like what professionals would do in the real world. So it's really exciting, and they have to learn about the issues and challenges themselves, because part of the competition is like the technical side, where they have to write about why they created their ROV, what its purpose is, and all of that. So the competition game plan. So this was a big challenge as well, because with COVID and everything, MATE is usually in person. Everything's in person, and so what we ended up having to do was kind of hybrid. And so parts of the competition components were virtual, and part of them were in person, because you have to be in person to be doing your robot, to be operating the robot, put it in water. You have to have a pool and access to that, which we supplied. And so their engineering presentation and marketing display, those ended up being virtual. And then our safety inspections and our product demonstration ended up being in person. And so we were very lucky to be able to get all of these students into the YMCA and social distance, and it was a lot of fun. So a little bit about like deliverables and deadlines. So competition, it was kind of intense, and so competition day, you're spent all day just tweaking your ROV, making sure the students have it ready and put it in the water. And so doing all the product demonstrations was an all-day event, and so that left the other components to kind of be done beforehand. And so we kind of split it up. And so 2 to 4 weeks before the competition day, all the students, they had their engineering presentations ready, the marketing display, a technical report, and their company spec sheet. And then the night before, we did the safety inspections. Because we are dealing with water, the ROVs have a lot of electrical components, and so we need to make sure it was all safe. And we also need to make sure that the pieces weren't super sharp when you're in the pool. So that was really fun and exciting. But it's really hard to put into words, because it's such a big event. We have divers in the pool. We had like TVA came out to talk, and it was fun. So the practice sessions, we did offer a pool because of COVID and because our rec center at the university was under construction. We actually had to buy a pool and we set it up on the university. So this year, with our recreation center being completed, we are hoping to have practice sessions at the university with a bigger pool, an Olympic-sized pool, and also have our competition there as well. It was a challenge having the competition at the YMCA because of parking, and it was downtown. It was so far away from everyone, and so we're hoping to have a more centralized location to hold everything with MATE. And these are just some pictures of the students and kind of what they made before competition and them getting to practice. And so you can kind of see how each design is completely different and unique. It's all made out of PVC pipes, which is, you know, really cheap and affordable. The most expensive pieces with the ROVs is going to be the control box. So you can see in a couple of their hands, they've got these controllers, and each controller is a kit that you end up purchasing, and each one varies depending on which competition level you do. With the pufferfish, it's very basic controls. When you get into the more advanced, like Ranger and Explorer, you start having to have a screen. You can't look into the pool when you navigate your ROV. You've got to do it like you would if you're in the ocean where you can't see your ROV. And so a lot more challenges, and it's just a good way to cater something so fun to different age levels. And then these are just pictures from our 2021 competition. This was back in May, and so we were at the YMCA. But this gives you an idea of what a setup typically looks like. Each area has a different mission task, and when you put your ROV into the water, it has to either move something, bring it to the surface, the kids pick it up, or they have to change something out, like cleaning out the eel cage and cleaning filters and stuff like that. And so we had a ton of people come out up here. These students were from East Tennessee, and this is like a man driven torpedo, I guess you can call it, but a person actually gets in there. And so the kids were really excited. They got to meet all these people. TVA was one of our a huge sponsors, so they came out. They brought out Solar Sally. Nautilus came out, and then we had some people that did dam inspection, and they came out to talk to the students. And so it was a really interactive competition for them. So while they weren't competing, they also got to learn about all these different professions and what like college students were doing on the other side of the state. So really collaborative work. And as you can see, all the students, their ROVs have, like, some of them are colorful and have just really cool designs, and they all had a lot of fun. So I'm hoping to have another one. So I'm ready to bring the schools and teachers in. So about the 2022 competition, so challenges haven't been announced yet. We have a regional coordinators workshop, I think in a week or two. They're still deciding the date, and so that's when they are going to announce everything, and then they will update their website. And so once I know, I'll be setting up a MATE workshop so I can introduce exactly what we're going to do and what the challenges are, and hopefully gain interest and figure out who wants to be a part of this competition. But I think what we should do this year is let the teachers kind of choose what competition levels based on how many participate, because I know some of them are really excited, but they've also done it last year. So now it's ready to kick it up a notch. So I'm really excited. I want more schools to compete. If you ever have more questions, just ask me. But MATE ROV, the students get to explore different careers. They get to use ROVs and learn how it's used for conservation. Robots are cool. And it's also really cool because other than sea perch, there's not a lot of underwater robotics anywhere. And it's great for those students who are interested in the marine life and that career field, because we are landlocked, and so it gives them an outlet for that. MATE is also well established, as you saw. Like, we're all over the world. We're so happy to bring it to the Mid-South area, because I'm hoping we can bring schools from different like cities to come, like nearby cities, like maybe Jonesboro, or some schools out in Olive Branch or South Haven. So hopefully we can have a bigger competition. And then there is a lot of real world application. They get to practice their soft skills. It's a lot of team collaboration. It really ties in everything that has to do with STEM. And it's not just about robotics, it's about team building and business and being an entrepreneur. And so there's a lot of aspects to it, which I think the students just absolutely love. And then I do have resource links if you want them. Dr. Ivy's email, my email, Logan's email, which I meant to ask him if you want to add anything to it. But and then you can always go to the MATE ROV website. Hopefully they'll update the challenges soon. And then our CMATE store, where you can buy the kits. And we also have a page on the West Tennessee STEM Hub for the MATE ROV. We are the MATE Mid-South location, and so we will be updating that as well. So there's a lot of information, especially about MATE ROV, but we plan to have a lot of help for you. This past year, I worked on milestones for the teachers, so we gave everyone a deadline and kind of kept you on track. And so we plan to do that again this year. That way it's not overwhelming, because there are so many components and so many pieces. So the STEM Hub is here for you, and we're hoping we have such a much bigger team this year that if you need the help, we can assign an ambassador to your team. So be on the lookout for more information about the challenges, and I will be reaching out to anyone who's interested as well. That is pretty much all I have. Logan, did you want to add anything about the competition or about MATE?
I think you covered everything pretty well. It went extremely well last year, and kind of being able to see everything from, every student from kindergarten all the way up to high school, being able to kind of compete in the same environment was just incredible. And to see what some of the elementary school students were able to do with robotics, kind of introduced to that, was really cool as well. So I think it's just a great competition, great resources for teachers as well.